everyone. Welcome to Webinar 10. I am Dr. Riza Lorenzana, Chair of the Ako Para sa Bata 2020. The 12th Ako Para sa Bata is presented by the Child Protection Network Foundation and UNICEF. Our theme this year is Care of the Child Against Violence in the Time of Disease. Today is another day of learning. To those who joined the previous Ako Para sa Bata webinars, welcome back. And for the first-timers, welcome to the Ako Para sa Bata community. On behalf of the Child Protection Network Foundation and UNICEF, we are grateful for each and every one of you. The Ako Para sa Bata 2020 webinars are a service to the Women and Children Protection Unit members and the entire Ako Para sa Bata community. Ako, tayo, para sa bata. I will now turn you over to the moderator of today's webinar. She is a therapist at the Philippine General Hospital Child Protection Unit and a facilitator of the Masayang Pamilya para sa Batang Pilipino program. Let us all welcome the moderator of the webinar on caring for the mental health of women and children protection frontliners during the pandemic, Ms. Annalyn C. Lindo. Over to you, Ms. Anna.
Thank you very much, Doc Rizzi. Good morning, everyone. The Ako Para sa Bata community, the attendees logged in Zoom, and those joining us on Facebook Live. Welcome. We are glad that you could join us today. This is the 10th webinar of Ako Para sa Bata 2020. As mentioned by Dr. Rizzi, a total of 23 webinars will be presented by the Child Protection Network and UNICEF. Today, we present Caring for the Mental Health of Women and Children Protection Frontliners during the pandemic. This is 1 hour and a half session, and the objectives are follows. Describe the mental health problems faced by the women and children protection frontliners during the COVID-19 pandemic. Discuss tips for managing one's mental well-being while also caring for patients and clients during the COVID-19 pandemic or other crises. I am very happy with the task given to me this morning. It is with great pride and pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. Our guest will discuss a topic entitled Promoting Mental Wellness and Resiliency for Frontliners, Identifying Risk and When to Seek Help. She is a trained adult child forensic psychiatrist with an impressive background in the field of her specialization. She is highly respected and greatly admired in our organization. She is the head of the Mental Health and Wellness Services of the PGH Child Protection Unit. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Norieta Calma Balderrama.
Okay, so thank you, Annalyn, for the very kind introduction. I'm equally honored to be introduced by you because you work so hard at the Child Protection Unit. So today, I am tasked to talk about how to care for all of us, for mental health, the mental health of women and child protection frontliners during these times. So you know that your mental health is a priority. Okay? Your happiness is very essential and your self-care is a necessity. So with that, I'd like to talk about the objectives which were already discussed by Ms. Annalyn. And therefore, I'd like to, because this is self-care, I'd like to start with a relaxation video. Okay, so please try to follow through so that you can relax a bit before you listen to my lecture.
Fly with Abel and Phi. Body scan meditation. Sit in a comfortable position and bring attention to your body. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. You can notice your body seated wherever you are, feeling the weight of your body on the chair or on the floor. Take a few deep breaths. Breathe in through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out through your mouth. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out through your mouth. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now bring your attention to the top of your head. Sense this area. What do you feel? Stillness or a feeling running through your hair? Breathe, and as you breathe, relax the top of your head. Continue to breathe and move your attention to the side of your head in your ears. What do you sense? Do you hear anything? Now bring your attention to the neck and throat. Let them be soft. Relax. Soften your jaw. Let your face and facial muscles be soft. Smile softly and gently. Notice your back against the chair. Bring your attention into your stomach area. If your stomach is tense or tight, let it soften. Take a breath. Notice your hands. Are your hands tense or tight? See if you can allow them to soften. Notice your arms. Feel any sensation in your arms. Let your shoulders be soft. Bring your attention to your legs and your feet. Feel your feet touching the ground and making a connection with it. Now notice your whole body present. Take one more breath. Be aware of your whole body as best you can. Take a breath, and then, when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Okay, so how are you? Are you more relaxed? I hope that helped you relax. Okay, did you know that if you smile, for example, the way you look at things would be better than somebody who doesn't smile? So there was this experiment and they looked at a funny video. If they already smiled, the way they looked at the video was better than those who were not smiling. So I hope all of you are smiling right now. Okay, so let's start with the content of my lecture. So before the COVID-19, I think we have a lot of stresses, right? Stressors, I mean. So basically, the coronavirus has exacerbated or maybe added to what we have been doing. And we know that even after this pandemic, we're likely to experience some of the distress. No? So merong after effect. Parang earthquake may aftershock. No? So we will expect this issue about mental health to be the next pandemic. After this pandemic will be mental health. Okay? So we know that frontliners are at the risk of infection when you go to your offices or to the child protection unit, to your workplace. And there is sometimes a sense of helplessness at this time. But of course, we are doing everything in order to help our clients, women and children. And sometimes we lack social support from other people because they also have their own concerns. In Wuhan, they saw that a lot of the healthcare workers were more likely to experience psychosocial disturbances. And so I think that is also what we see in this situation. So these are the challenges that you are facing or you have faced these challenges. Socioeconomic inequality. You need to balance your family, the concern with your family and your work. And then there is this deep sense of uncertainty about our future. So I think commonly we have online fatigue because you have to be sometimes in your computer, or some of you will need to go out and there is fear of getting infected. And then all of this put together can, if it prolonged, can progress to what we call trauma or traumatic stress. But despite all of this, we will have to be resilient. And being resilient, as what CPU and CPN has been saying all this time, we have to be trauma informed because a lot of our clients and we can also be traumatized. So that is why we need each other. The more than 2,000 connect with each other, okay, in the work that we do. Okay, as we've said, when we work with people who are angry, irritable, they are sensitive, they feel left out, and sometimes their tone of voice is very high because they carry their trauma. So what do? Because we are trauma informed, we try our best to use the trauma informed care that we know. We acknowledge, validate their emotions, and contain the emotion. So you said, naintindihan ko po ang inyong nararamdaman. Because by doing this, then it will be easier for us. So when we are trauma informed, then we also care for ourselves. But the truth is we carry also this experience and the burden that our clients sometimes carry with them. Okay? So what is the effect on you? You can be frustrated, it can be draining, overwhelming at times, and then you can be angry, even your empathy is affected. Sometimes some people even threaten us, right? Threaten us with a court case or even to report to so-and-so agencies. So sometimes you also feel that you are not making a difference, you have frustrations, or sometimes you feel you are incompetent, even if you're very good. And sometimes you feel that you are powerless. You don't have the money, you don't have the means to help them, even if you want to help them. And this results to what? Anxiety and panic. And then you add the fear in relation to pandemic. It can really be very difficult, right? So these are the things that we have to deal with, but we have to work as a team, meaning that in the world of child protection, women protection, we work always as a team. That means when we do self-care and when we also think about our welfare, we also consider that we are not alone. We work as a team. And therefore, I'd like to honor all of you, carers, women, children protection frontliners. So, palakpak no, sa inyo lahat for doing all of this. Thank you for working so hard, no? Even during the pandemic at the risk of getting the COVID. So these are the things that you have experienced. You are sometimes pushed to the limit. You selflessly care for others, okay? And then you have all the different types of fatigue. And then the behavior of our clients can affect us. We have fears in relation to bringing the virus home and a lot more, okay? So what happens? We bottle up the emotions. We actually are affected in the different areas of our development, our emotions or identity, even physical reactions. Before you didn't have any headaches. Now sometimes you have muscle aches and headaches. Okay. So I'd just like you to take hold of the different stages of burnout and check if you are in any of these. Okay. So the honeymoon stage, you realize but you are not taking action. So that is the honeymoon stage. So maybe in the beginning, early March, April, you didn't you realized it, but you didn't take action. Or maybe now, no, you know it, then you're in the honeymoon stage. And then disillusionment stage, despite the effort, you try to cope, okay, and control things around. So you already have some kind of effort, okay? And then the brownout stage, you appear to function well, but sometimes you want to escape from your job. You want to take a leave, you're less productive, or sometimes you say, magre-resign na kaya ako from my job as a police or maybe as a social worker or as a nurse or doctor. Okay? So okay pa kayo, don't worry. If you're in the honeymoon, disillusionment, or brownout stage, you're still okay. Just take a vacation, take a leave, maybe over the weekend, do something, or something that will help you. Then after your leave, you feel okay, then you are still in these stages, okay? But if you are already in the frustration stage and the despair stage, then this is already a signal. This is when you ignore the signs, you're very negative, you're always angry, you're not enthusiastic when you wake up in the morning, you're very cynical about the system. And so this is when you are already maybe a professional, but sa despair stage, that is really, you really need a professional because here you have what? Feelings of failure. You already have clinical depression, pessimism, self-doubt, loneliness, emptiness. You desire to run away and ignore everything. Remember, when you are traumatized, you just simply become numb and not do anything. So it is like that in the despair stage. And I hope you are not in that stage. So who among you are in the first three stages? Maybe raise your hands. Okay. So the rest, if you are in the fourth and fifth, so then do some reflection and examine yourself. So this is the mental health continuum. So this will guide you as to where you are also. So self-care and social support. So it's okay to be in the reacting stage. But if you're already in the area where you have significant functional impairment, it can be difficult, as I've said. You have sleep disturbances, lingering sadness, difficulty listening, you know, in our line of work, we have to be very good listeners. And if you can't listen and do problem solving with them, it can really be very difficult. You always miss deadlines and then you always request for extension. And lastly, on the right side, of course, are when you are really ill and therefore will really need professional help. Okay. So when we deal with frontliners, meaning when we help our co-frontliners or when we help the people that we want to help, we of course have to remember the foundations of trauma-informed care, knowing that healing begins in relationships. So later I'll emphasize also connectedness. So again, the first step to healing is establishing connection. So maybe you can chat in your chat box, write your BFF. Sino ba yung mga best friend nyo? Are they here listening? So maybe i-chat box nyo. No? It's good to claim, no, the relationship as really good friends or you are best friends. Okay? And then second is recognize that all behavior has meaning. So meaning we do not judge, we look at what is behind that behavior. So if a frontliner is having a hard time, maybe she also has family problems or not functioning well. Maybe there are fears about the pandemic. And that understand that symptoms are what? Adaptations, okay? So these are the ways by which people cope. So when other people feel unsafe, like right now, they will react defensively or even violently. So then we have to understand that. And then we seek to comfort, not control. So when we seek to comfort, in effect, as I've said, we are also comforted because that is what bounce back to us. And then we build on strengths and not weaknesses of people. So very important for us to pause and then think of the more positive things in life. Yesterday, one student asked me, what are we going to do in this very chaotic world? So I said, we'll have to look at the bright side of things. We don't always look at the negative aspects of things. And then the principles, I think most of you know this already. So safety, we want our clients to be safe, and therefore with us also, make sure that you are safe. That is first and foremost during this pandemic. And then trustworthiness, peer support among us, the frontliners. This is also very important. Of course, collaboration, giving the voice and choice, no, to frontliners. And of course, we are different. We come from Mindanao, from different areas of the Philippines with varied background uh, and culture and tradition. Okay, so now how can you take care of yourself? So having said these are the foundations and things that we have to set when we do our work so that we are also not traumatized or we don't have higher levels of stress. Okay, so when you are overwhelmed, what can you do? Ito, we have a lot of choices. We have a whole bag that will contain all the options. Like when we do our therapy, we tell our clients that they have this like a bag or maybe in their drawer, they have all of these spiritual, your own personal hobbies, okay, even the safe, the space, no, even your financial, no. So all of this, no, even the environment can be part of your self-care, okay? So now let's just review the WHO mental health and psychosocial considerations that are needed for us to follow during the time of pandemic, okay? So that in general, the people, that's us, you, all of you, deserve, no, the support of other people, compassion, and kindness. So we have to treat each other when we're working together. We need to support each other, be compassionate and kind to each other. And then we also say that there are people with COVID, not COVID-19 cases. No? So that is the recommendation of WHO. And then we try to minimize watching, reading, or listening to news about COVID-19 that makes us feel distressed or anxious. Okay? Next, protect yourself and be supportive of others. Okay? And then find opportunity to amplify positive and hopeful stories. So it's better to talk about positive things, our positive experiences. And we honor you, no? Honor carers, that's all of you, and healthcare workers supporting people. So you come from different professions, no? From the police, we have the lawyers, we have the social workers, we have the doctors, the nurses, no? So all of you, we acknowledge the role that you play in saving lives, even the people who make our place of work clean, no? Our manong or the people who help us, no, in one way or another, supply, for example, our food. Okay, so it is also normal to feel pressure. Okay, it's important to maintain, of course, our physical well-being, and that taking care of yourself is very important. And of course, WHO also says stay connected with loved ones even through digital method. So, sino na sa inyo ang nag-online party or bonding? So, kami, no, ni Leia and si Dr. Laines, no, nag-online bonding lang kami, but we have to keep it up, no? So, you're not going to do anything, bonding lang, anything goes, kwento-kwento, no? That's going to help you. And then, you have to use no yung very good ways no to share your messages, and then we need to support each other during this time of COVID. Okay, so those are the recommendations of WHO. Okay, regarding frontliners. So now let's take a look at the general things that we can do to help ourselves. One is, of course, with anything, even before the pandemic, we have to be what? Aware of ourselves, of how we are feeling, self-awareness of who, what we are, okay? Recognition or having self-awareness. And when you are aware, you have your own recipe as to how you can care for yourselves. It's important to talk to your colleagues, other frontliners, and then we go back to ABC. So I think the ABC also works during the pandemic. It's not just before, but even now, no? Awareness, balance, and connection. So it's important, no? So before anything that you do, we have to be self-aware, and we have to know where we are, maybe our emotions, because it will affect the way we deal with other people, with our family, and also the way we do our work. Okay, so what are the things that you need to be aware of? Your stress signs. Okay, kasi it can also manifest sa skin. It can also manifest with how you look, no? And of course, yung needs, vulnerabilities, and limitations, we have to know all of this. And we also have to know what we need, like a quiet time and peace, no? Where we find peace from time to time in order to get out of our work as frontliners, okay? And check what is inside. Okay, that's the other thing that I said, no? Aside from looking at the bright side, when you feel that everything is chaotic, is you look inside because you can find strength inside. Okay, the A, finish na tayo. B, balance. Okay, work, play, and rest. Okay, so meaning there should be protected time for working and then protected time for resting. Okay, so there should be equal time for all the three: work, play, and rest. Okay, so I think most of us, puro work, no? Parang if you make a pie, nagiging ano siguro 90%. Yung rest baka 10%, no? And play minsan wala pa. Or for some, it is 50-50 if you are mindful. I think ang problem is how you can maintain it, right? I was able to maintain it for 2 months, 3 months, and then iba na after. And so you need somebody sometimes to, you know, tell you or remind you in a way, no? It's good to have a partner in order to maintain. So, minsan may wax and wane, but we go back to the letter B. And C, of course, is meaningful connections with others. I always emphasize this because studies show that, you know, the connections also in the brain improve when you have connections with other people. And you know that if you, for example, have therapy, you connect to your therapist, and you take images of your brain actually improves, no? Nagiging mas maganda siya, no? When you also connect with other people, okay? So, again, as I've said, despite social distancing, there is a need to connect. So, Robert Waldinger says that in a 75-year-long study on happiness, said that one predictor of how happy and healthy you are is the quality of your relationships. Kaya mas stressful kung may problema sa family, kaya dapat maganda, or meron kang nakaaway na friend, yan, no? So, it's very important to maintain very good quality of relationships. So, it is good to reach out to a friend, having your bonding time, and there is a need to deal with loneliness. Sometimes it's not pathologic, but some people just have loneliness all the time. Okay, and all of us, I think during the pandemic, have felt this, no? Yung parang feeling mo alone ka lang, what are you going to do? Paulit-ulit every day, your routine, no? So, in general, pay attention to your body, balance, and be realistic about your workload. Do something every day that's rewarding, even if it's just a thought of thank you or appreciation of something good for the day. and then make your boundaries, okay? So maybe at home, even if it's small, so ito yung space ko for work, or ito naman yung space for bonding. Or yung time nyo, this time, kung walang space, is for this and this for that. Okay? The way you take care of yourselves so that you are not infected. And then it's also important to express your feelings. It can be in different ways. It can be through writing, through music. It can be because of a pet or maybe your plants. You can talk to your plants. No? So you take a break, and it's good to express, because if you don't express it, it's going to be difficult. Okay? But of course, when you express it through social media, you will have to think twice. Okay? It's always better to, communicate directly to the individual. And then organize your time. Okay? And then take time to reflect. And then you already had the deep breathing exercise. Be caring or passionate to yourself also, in the way that you are already compassionate with other people. Sometimes we forget to be compassionate to ourselves. And then find ways to contain, no? And manage your stressors, no? By being creative, using humor, no? So ako minsan natatawa ako, no, sa certain things that I see online, no? That's very good. Yung mga hindi, yung stressing, maybe just ignore them, no? Kasi it's going to make it difficult for you. And then seek positive experiences. So turn things into something that's positive. Make it more concrete, outcome-based, para hindi siya yung parang nagsisisihan, gano'n. And then, as I've said, spend time in nature or plants. Si Dr. Bernie, she supplies us with sunrise or sunset, no? Yung mostly sunset. And when we look at these pictures, it makes us very happy, no? And, it creates a way of yan. And then you also look at your sleep, okay? And then, as I've said, you imagine a shield or barrier so that you can protect yourself at times when you talk to your clients. And then seek support and therapy when it is necessary, okay? So this is my formula, pero kulang pa siya sa baba. I will show the next slide. So this is mnemonics lang naman, no? That you can think of, so it's easy to remember. So you have your spiritual growth or spiritual life, self-regulation, exercising your brain and body, learning and loving relationships, focusing on the basic food, safety, finances, connecting, okay? And then last, so the mnemonic is self-care, attitude, meaning treating yourself and others with kindness and compassion. R is routine, and E is enhancing your skills. Okay, so that is your self-care. So skills meaning you can, dati you were not cooking, maybe now you can cook, try to do something else. No? Maybe you can do something else, or in relation to your work. No? So that is your child protection skills. Okay? So spiritual growth, as I've said, is very important. And self-regulation, I think yung spiritual, for example, in the research among Filipinos and even children, spiritual is one of the coping mechanisms, and it helps us a lot. Even, for example, with suicide, the spiritual aspects, no, can actually prevent people from hurting themselves. And then self-regulation, so you have to regulate, no, yung tolerance of negative situation and total resilience so that you can adapt to the change. And as I've said, balance. Life is all about balance. Be kind, but don't let people abuse you. Trust, but don't be deceived. So tama-tama lang, hindi naman yung masyadong give everything out, or else you can have fatigue also, okay? And never stop improving yourselves. So this is balance. So the work-life balance is so important. So you can see here on the right, all the areas, no, that needs to be balanced. There's so many, from employment relationship, economic changes, social institutional changes, yan. Lahat yan, no, as part of the balance. And part of balancing is basically you can sometimes combine activities, only sometimes, no? Simplify what you are doing and then minimize distractions. And then remember to sharpen the saw. This is what Covey said, that we need to sleep and have R&R from time to time, no? Okay, so now exercise the brain and body. So you want to exercise the brain by choosing your thoughts, okay, that are positive, okay? And basically, if you have some things that you need to do that will involve brain activity, that will also be good. And of course, not making sure that you do not overload your brain also with a lot of information. And then you exercise the body. As we know, we want the endorphins to come out. Okay. And the next is, of course, a review again of what is self-care. What is self-care? Okay, so when you say C, connecting. So nasaan na tayo? We are in the learning and loving relationships. So do you have loving relationships? I hope you have loving relationships. So that's very good. Okay, so we also have to know how to reflect from time to time. Okay, and then most of us have difficulty saying no. You have to learn how to say no, especially in these times. Okay, and then of course, loving self and others. Okay, so it's important to put yourself first so that you can do your work very well as frontliner. Because if you are sick, it's, you know, the services will also suffer. So we have to take care of ourselves. So make happiness your priority. It is, again, a necessity. Okay, so again, we affect each other online and offline. Okay. Now, the next is focusing on the basic, on, of course, safety inside and outside, wearing your protective gear. And then the food that we eat, we know that there are a lot of research that the food that you eat will actually affect your mood and your mental health. No? So be mindful of the food that you eat. Okay. And then, of course, reality check is that you have to also check your finances, because it can also affect the way we work when your finances are a source of your problem. Okay? So you will have to balance earning and spending. So these are the difficult times. And when we have, like yesterday, we had this reflection and sharing, no, with other child psychiatrists, and also with some of the faculty, no, of a group that we also have. So the thing is, now more than ever, we look at only the basics. No, we don't spend anymore something that's not really very important. Okay, because of the difficult times. Okay, and then connecting. It's very important for us to connect to our friends. Okay, and family. Okay. So the last of the care is the attitude. Again, treating yourself with kindness, the routine, establish a routine, and of course, enhancing your skills. It can be related to your work or other skills. Okay, so in general, we do not pathologize everything. We just have to say that your reactions may be normal reactions to an abnormal situation. So we need to normalize them. And again, understand that trauma lives in the body, acknowledge the long-term consequences of how we cope and the situation that we're in. We want to reframe how we look at things. And of course, we encourage better coping strategies or continue strategies that are already working for you. Okay. And then teach that symptoms are not taking place in the here and now. So what is important now? You're healthy. So even our patients will say, yes, I should do that. I don't have to look at the future, but instead look at the here and now, that I'm healthy, doing well, you're listening here. Isn't that great that we have this opportunity to be with each other, right? Before, we were not able to connect. Now we are connecting with each other. Okay. Now let's go to resiliency. Okay. Part of the talk is being resilient. Para tayong being resilient. Kaya natin. Okay. Okay. So when you say resilient, you maintain a positive outlook. Okay. And your coping mechanisms are working. So it's the ability to recover from difficult situations. No? So it is a process, okay? So the outcome is when you have the resilience as a process, you become resilient. No? So in times of adversity like the pandemic, there is a process and then you have good outcome, then you know that you are resilient. So remember, our TIC, Trauma Informed Care Manual, says that part of being resilient is developing your rich relationship. RICH, no? Respect, information, connection, and hope. So if you have that, maybe a mentor, a teacher, co-worker, so have those rich relationships, okay? And you have a 10-point resilience plan, okay? So these are all the 10-point resilience plan. So let us take a look at them one by one, okay? So first, visualize success. In order for you to be resilient, you will have to visualize what is success for you as a frontliner. So it involves reframing your definition of success. Like for example, some of you, maybe if gagraduate na yung anak ko, that's my definition of success. If I become the head of something, that is my success. If I finish my master's degree, that's success. Or if I have my own house, that's success. So it can be little things like I was able to decrease and make myself healthy, my weight, no? So that's success. So you visualize na nagiging mas na kayo, healthy and fit. Okay? Boost your self-esteem. Again, you have things that make you feel good. Okay? Then give yourself credit and pat on the back. Having confidence in your own ability that you can do this. Believe in yourself that you have the talent and you are very good at what you are doing as a frontliner, no? Dealing with children and women. This has been your work for quite some time, and so you are very good at this, okay? And then enhance your self-efficacy. So again, the right frame of mind to take control, focus on the things that can be done, and then just dispel unhelpful beliefs, yung mga chismis-chismis o kung ano-ano dyan, just put them aside if they're very negative. So you just like filter things, okay, so that you can be more efficient. And then a good word of resilience is optimism. Be optimistic. Kung lahat ay ganito, hindi, you find something that is bright in a chaotic or difficult situation. So it is important for us to reframe things, reframe them so that we will see the opportunity rather than the disappointments. And then, of course, managing your stress, which we already talked about, okay? And then improving your decision making. Remember that you only decide when you are very calm. Because when you are stressed and overloaded, it is not, or traumatized, it's not the right time, or anxious or depressed to make decisions. So when you are calm, you improve your decision making, it is what? Allowing you to take action, okay? So resilient people are proactive and believe firmly in flexible or flexibility, okay? Especially yung mga online learning natin or doing your homework at home in relation to your documents. I know yung mga social workers, madaming mga documents, di ba? Kailangan pa din yan, okay? And then, if it is really very difficult, you know, ask help. Just tell somebody. So it's important for us to ask help because right now we have limitations, especially yung mga senior citizen, mga elderly, or the very young ones. No? And then you have to deal with conflicts in a way that is appropriate. You have to be flexible in the way you deal with conflicts or disputes. Of course, you collaborate for conflict resolution. Then learn. No? What have I learned today? So from this session, what are you learning? Be mindful, and then research. No? Just read and read, and you will, or practice and practice, you will learn. And then in the end, you have to be yourself, with all your flaws and talent and what you have learned. No? Be yourself, be true to yourself. No? A strong sense of identity and values. All of us are different. You cannot compare yourself with other people. Just be me. I'm okay. I'm doing well. Even if I'm not able to do this, but I'm okay. I can do this. No, with time, I will learn. Okay? And the final key, of course, is flexibility. So the four major components of resilience: being comfortable with who you are, especially in the age, no, yung mga 20s, yan. Sa umpisa kasi, di ba, during the adolescent, we try to figure out. Pag 20s, medyo, ano pa yan, nagsusway ng konti. Although there are people, yung lumalabas lang who they are, you're comfortable. Yung iba, 60 na, no? Doon lang nila nalalaman na, ay, ang orientation ko pala ito, no? So, sometimes medyo mahaba yung iba. But hopefully, it will be short for you. Okay, so this has something to do with self-esteem. And then being values-driven, so you know which is more important to you at a certain period of time. Okay, be honest and kind to others, and then you should have other interests other than being a frontliner. Make sure that you have other things to do to balance things. And then having drive and determination matched with realism. So meaning like yung mga police namin, they're so determined, no? Yung mga cases nila ay marvel at their yung spirit of really helping children, no? Have justice, pumupunta pa sa kung saan-saan, and yung police natin, no, ang hirap-hirap, it can be very dangerous, but they still do it. Very determined, no? Just like most of you, no? Mga social workers natin, despite the pandemic, no? You do your work. Okay? And then what are the skills for you to manage your emotions? Kasi now we have up and down emotions. So you should have what we call distress tolerance, okay? So it helps cope better by building your resiliency, and of course, ways, no, by which you can soften the effects of the pandemic, yung mga upsetting circumstances. So yung tolerance natin kailangan in place. And then accepting coping mechanisms like the present is the only moment I have control over now. So the here and now, yun palagi yung ngayon lang muna tayo kasi we don't know what's going to happen in the future, kailan ba ito malilift, di ba? And then distract with pleasurable activities. When we do, for example, EMDR, we have this positive resource where when we do this, they will think of a happy and safe place. So you distract some of your thoughts with an image of a happy and safe place. So which is part of relaxation. No? Self-soothing smell, pwede yung different senses, or hearing, music, or touching, no? Yung fluffy things we give our survivors, no? Yung mga toys na malambot kasi they feel relaxed when they go to court or sa bahay sila. Tuwang-tuwa sila, no? So I keep, pag may mga nagdo-donate, yung mga toys that are very nice to touch, no? Kasi touch can be very good for some people. Okay, so this is what I've said, safe place visualization. My safe place is, okay, so you can write it down, okay? And then my safe place makes me feel happy, good, relaxed, yan, okay? And then that is what you think about when you are, really tired or overloaded. You just visualize, do your deep breathing, that you're, for example, in that beach, okay? And then your coping thoughts, no, worksheet. So from a distressing thought, you change it into a new coping thought, okay? And then practice lang. Sa beginning, it's going to be hard, but soon it's going to be easy. And then mindfulness, of course, very important. Yung band of light na parang may light sa ulo that engulfs you while you are doing your deep breathing, okay? And then yung visualizing, no? that you are watching your thoughts flow away pagka masyadong mabigat. Okay? And then record 3 minutes of your thought, no, on paper, and then check, see what these are. Okay? And then emotional regulation, we've already talked about this, no, recognize and modulate how you feel so that it's not going to be destructive. And then interpersonal effectiveness. So you have to also protect your relationships and treat others with respect. Okay, so where are you now? Saan na kayo? Nandito ba kayo sa endure? Nandito sa reacting? Or nandito sa healthy? I hope nandito lang kayo. We have fluctuations, yes. We take things in stride. We have normal sleep pattern. And we are physically and socially active, good confidence. We're consistent in our performance. And of course, we learn and study. Okay? Now, how do you know when you need professional help? So aside from the continuum that I showed you at the end, no, yung ill, yung usual coping mechanisms you are no longer working. So you try to take a leave, parang same pa din, then maybe you need professional help. And then if you, of course, fulfill the criteria for the different mental illnesses, and if there's already an emergency, or that you are infected or physically ill, so then it can be both physical and mental problems. Okay, so it's important to provide practical support and proactively identify those who are suffering so that we will help them, okay, not only us. And self-care involves what? A lot of things, no? And do not forget, even the environment is equally as important. And these are all the, see, you have a lot of self-care ideas that you can do, no? That even men can do this, no? Nakalagay lang women, pero this is slash also. I cannot just change it for men also, okay? So you have a lot of things to do. Okay, so I will end my lecture with this message to you. Okay, so I hope this will help.
A moment of peace. When you are in the middle of experiencing unwanted physical sensations and emotions, it is easy to feel overwhelmed. Life might feel chaotic, and it can be hard to do what you want. Right now, practice finding some peace amongst the chaos. A little bubble of reprieve that will help you see some hidden opportunities amongst the storms of life. There are 3 things you can do to grab a moment of peace amongst this chaos. 1. Be positive. People are often their own worst critics and will focus on the negative while skimming over the positive. For example, say you were well enough to attend 4 of 5 club meetings. Instead of focusing on the one time you missed out, celebrate the fun you had all those other 4 times. Now think of something you are disappointed about. Your class attendance or grades, a certain friend, the medicines you need to take. Now what about that thing or person or situation is actually neutral or maybe even good? Or perhaps there's a lesson to be learned. What hidden opportunity can you see in that cloud? Now take it out and look at it. Give yourself permission to be satisfied or happy about that thing or that lesson. Take a moment to notice what that feels like. There are often lessons to be learned in difficult situations. Two, be joyful. Think about people, places, or events that have brought you joy, and replay them in your mind. Try it right now. Close your eyes and focus on that person, that place, or thing, that joyful moment. What thoughts or memories come to mind? What does that feel like in your body? What emotions come up? Now give yourself the space to sit with these experiences and let those joyful moments fill you. Let that joy just wash over you. Three, be thankful. What 3 things are you grateful for right now? Be specific. You can be grateful for even the smallest of joys, like wearing your favorite shirt or having your favorite nurse at the hospital. If you are thankful for a person, tell them. You can do this in person, over email, text, or a phone call. Think about the people and things in your everyday life that make you happy and that you are thankful for. Notice the difference it makes in how you feel about everything. So now you have them all. Practice these 3 moments of peace. Be positive, be joyful, and be thankful. This may be really hard at first or on challenging days, but it does get easier with time and practice. By allowing yourself the time and space to be positive, to enjoy pleasant emotions and experiences, and to be thankful, with practice, you can find these little moments of peace amongst the chaos and remind yourself that you can weather the storms.
So I'd like to thank meron lang akong thank you, no? But I'd like to thank the makers of this, yung YouTube, no? So we'd like to thank them. So yan, para if you want to listen to them again, no? So thank you very much for all your caring, all your caregiving. Thank you, and life is good because of friends like you, okay? So thank you for caring enough to fight for my future from a child, to all frontliners. Thank you and a pleasant good morning.
Wow, that was a very powerful and very beautiful presentation, Dr. Nori. I mean, we are very, very happy indeed, you know, that once again, nandito po kayo ngayon para mabigyan po kami ng napakaganda niyong insights. Actually, this is very timely and dahil we all need to really look after ourselves, especially during this pandemic. So, thank you very much, Dr. Balderrama. Now, mga mahal kong 2,000 attendees or participants, I'm sure Dr. Nori deserves a round of a virtual applause. Pwede po bang applause, palakpakan natin si Doc Nori or thumbs up, you know, it's so really powerful. I'm really touched, Doc. Thank you so much. And the video was really calming. Medyo bumaba po yung stress level ko kanina. Thank you so much, Doc. Okay, so ito yung pinakahihintay ng marami. Let's do some polls again. Okay, so handa na po ba kayo? Okay. The first question is, ito paborito ko tong question. Which superpower would you like to have? be invincible, read minds, immortality, or teleportation? Again, which superpower would you like to have? Be invincible, read minds, immortality, and teleportation. Thank you for participating. So in a short while, we will see the result, okay? Wow. Sabi ko na nga I can read your minds, you know? Kasi 47% says they would like to have the superpower for reading minds, you know? Ito lagi yung sinasabi sa amin bilang practicing psychologist and mga psychiatrists kung nag-reread ba kami ng minds, okay? And also 28% rather, 28% rather would like to have a chance to do teleportation. And then 15% be invincible. Yeah, thank you po. Okay. Now, the next question is, which Filipino dish is your favorite? Adobo pork, adobo chicken, sinigang pork, sinigang fish, or sinigang shrimps? I think there was nagtatalo between ano ba yung ating dapat na Filipino national dish. It's either adobo ba or sinigang. Pero this time, we would like to know kung ano yung mga paborito ninyo. So, in a short while, we will have the result. Okay. Parang nakakagutom na. Nako, talagang nanguna ang adobo pork. You know, talagang napakasarap kasi. Pero ang hirap lutuin, sa totoo lang. Okay? And then, adobo chicken. You know, pwede sigurong mix din, di ba? And then, sinigang shrimps actually is 29%, you know. And then, yung adobo chicken is 22%. So, thank you so much. Okay, ito, the next question, nabanggit ni Dr. Nori sa kanyang presentation. Am I able to say no? Okay, so the choices are no, yes, sometimes, or never. I am able to say no. No, yes, sometimes, never. Okay. Parang hirap nito, no, to say no. I think we always love to say yes, kaya lang siguro minsan we have to learn how to say no. But then, with this poll, we would know kung ano ba talaga ang majority answer ng ating mga attendees. Okay. So, yes. Okay. Andyan na ba ang result natin? Okay. So, 48% say sometimes. Okay. And then, followed by 47% yes. Okay. And then 4% no. And then 1% never. Okay. So, very good. Okay. Now, once again, thank you everyone for participating. To facilitate the open forum, may I call on my co-moderator? He is the psychologist of PGH Child Protection Unit, a member of American Academy expert in traumatic stress and Psychological Association of the Philippines. He is a certified practitioner and supervisor of trauma-informed psychosocial processing. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Mr. Jason Ray M. Berlaad. Bigyan po natin ng palakpakan si Sir. Thank you. Over to you, Sir Jason.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Anna. And thank you, Dr. Nori. I have lots and lots of takeaways perhaps today. Ang dami kong mga nalista sa aking journal ngayon. And hello, everyone as well. And hello to 904 participants on Facebook Live. We truly appreciate your support and active participation. Thank you to all those who sent in their questions. There are lots of questions, but perhaps let us now call on Dr. Balderrama to kindly turn on your video. Hello, Doc. Good morning po.
Okay, so good morning.
Doc. Yes, Doc. I have a very lots of questions asking for your PowerPoint and for some resources. Naghahanap sila.
We can share, no? Kasi that's essentially our goal is to also help them. So
yes,
yung topics naman ng self-care nandun lang, no? Okay?
Opo, Doc.
Tapos
Sige, Doc. So,
resources andun lang din naman through YouTube, no?
Sige, Doc. Let's go first with the first question, Doc. Para po marami tayong masagot. How to balance life work if taking a mental health break has a corresponding administrative actions such as salary deductions, reprimand, threat of not being regularized, etc.
Okay, so if it is like that, I think we have to influence the organization to see that this is very important, because if we do not recognize the need for people to have a mental check and to also have time to do this, I think we see this in some organizations where there is a lot of turnover, yung papalit-palit ang staff, kasi they are not recognizing and caring for their staff. So I think we need to, in the Philippines, go to the top, the director, influence the director so that they will see it. So yun yung advice ko, kasi if ikaw lang, it's going to be difficult. So it's really the top. Kung hindi pwede yung top, the next one top, no? I mean, from experience is how to influence people. Kasi from top, pababa, so that they will implement. And then for us naman, we can probably talk about trauma-informed care, because it's one of the things that we have been advocating, and part of it is taking time out at the end is trauma stewardship. So maybe you can invite us to lecture to your institution, or yan si Jason, to talk about trauma-informed care, so that they will understand its effect on the brain and on the individual. So we'll be happy to help you and help you influence your whoever it is. No? So we're not judging that person also. It's just probably that they don't understand, and they're also under pressure. Sometimes they're also under pressure. So maybe if we all together have the trauma-informed care training, all of you will change your mindset. Yeah. So
yes.
Happy to assist you.
Very well said, Doc. Sabi nyo nga kanina, Doc, to have a meaningful connection. No? So perhaps yung organization should have that, no? Para sa mga employees, hindi lang sa mga employees, ganun din pati dun sa mga nasa taas. No? So for the second question, Doc, these are some of the questions in our chat box. What would you suggest would be one practical step or a good place to start self-care?
Well, the first one should be, I think you have to audit, try to see in the past what worked for you. Yun yung first step mo. And then do the things that are already working for you. Kasi baka they're working for you, you're just not implementing them. Like, for example, for you, yung cleaning. Kasi, di ba, like even children, there was one, yung nare-relax siya when she's cleaning. So, nililinis lang niya yung bahay. For some, that's stressful, di ba? Cleaning, decluttering. But for some, they're very happy with it. So I think that's the first step, is to check on what works for you, continue with it, and then add a few if they are not enough. So I think that's the first thing that you can do na immediate right now. Of course, yung deeper will be, of course, dealing with yung some of your past problems. Kasi yung the way you cope now, yung adverse childhood experiences, if you have them and carry them with you, then mahirap kasi minsan carrying, then you really have to deal with those. No? So you have to express, communicate, problem solve, para hindi mo siya dala-dala kung mga interpersonal relationships. Those are, I think, what I can advise. Mga first steps, depending on your circumstances.
Thank you, Doc, for that. Di ko alam kung susulat ko na ba siya ngayon or later na lang. Sige, Doc. Let's have one more question, Doc, before we end. How can we lessen the virtual stress, knowing the work at home is more pressure and demanding than working in the office setup?
So, ang problem niya yung virtual stress kasi you have to sit, di ba, for long periods. So, mga students ngayon, ang ano nila is, of course, yung Zoom fatigue, ganon. Yung term nila, di ba? Kasi they're always, of course, yung Zoom pwede namang ibang app, pero because it's the one that's, so may online learning fatigue. So, for workers naman, may fatigue, no, in terms of looking at your screens. So again, when you have this, may fatigue ka na, you will have to do in-between breaks. So I noticed na, for example, before, ang break mo, let's say, every hour or every 30 minutes. Now, from the virtual, may break ka every mga 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Shorter ngayon kasi online. And then yung break mo, pwede namang ano lang, nandun ka, pero like for example, mindfulness, titingnan mo lang yung hands mo for a few seconds, tapos you also have bigger breaks. So in other words, more than ever, we have to be conscious to have a lot of breaks from the virtual life that we have, no? Kung online. So look at your hands, look at a mindfulness technique, no? And then check your nails, check your yung ano mo, no, lines mo, and then clap mong ganon, and then feel the tingling sensation, and then your focus will be yon, no? Parang nare-relax yung brain mo. And when you do this, it's one way, it's like a mindfulness. The other one, for example, kung kaya, maglakad ka, and then you think of your feet, you're happy that you have 2 feet, you appreciate them, you're heavy, but they're very small, they carry you, things like that. Or you can just look at a plant. Siguro sa virtual, kunyari may computer ka, meron kang plant sa tabi. Para yung visual, ano mo, you can look at a plant. Or a picture of your loved one sa tabi mo. O yung nag-birthday siya, titingnan mo siya, tapos parang happy ka na, no? Na tinitingnan mo tong picture, yung happy moments na baby pa, tapos nakakatuwa. Get those pictures and then itabi mo lang. Or dyan sa computer mo, pwede mo namang i-shift-shift. Kung nabobore ka na, makikinig ka tapos i-shift to some of the features that you like. So those are very common things that you can do na practical lang. Of course, the big things, ito na yung exercise ka talaga, yung you have a mat, and then you can, you know, exercise with your family, ganon. So mindfulness, there are a lot of, may set of mindfulness techniques. Madami siya, no? We have a list. Hindi ko lang nilagay dyan, but we have a long list. Merong mga mindfulness on the go. Merong mga books, no, that we lecture on mindfulness on the go, yung mabilis lang. Tapos meron din namang mindfulness for 8 weeks that you have to follow. Parang every week, you have to do the exercises. So if you're interested, we can also share siguro. You just tell us. Or we can give you the reference.
Hello. Yes, Doc, perhaps we can just communicate with the organization, no, about these resources so that they can share it to our participants.
Yes, we can give them the resources.
Yes,
at marami naman online, no, that they could Google.
Yes, Doc. And I think that's it for the questions, Doc. Thank you very much, Dr. Balderrama, for for those very insightful answers. Perhaps everyone will agree to me that we have so many takeaways today. Ang dami nating learnings. If pwede lang i-extend yung time, no? But we want to thank everyone here on Zoom and those on Facebook Live. Again, everyone, let's give Dr. Balderrama a virtual round of applause. Thank you very much, Doc, for your time.
Thank you. Thank you also for joining us today. And thank you, Jason.
Thank you po.
Thank you.